And now, Astros Talk with our KHOU 11 baseball analyst Jeremy Booth, along with Zach Tawatari. Now that the season is over, should we talk about reviewing our preseason predictions? Number of wins in 2025, the Astros end up with 87. Jeremy, do you remember how many you had?
I don't. 85-ish, 90?
You had 86.
Really?
Big difference.
I don't know.
Zach, you remember how many you had?
Oh, I did. 87.
Yes.
I knew it all year.
Yes, and I had 87 as well. So I think overall, we did pretty well. Luis Ortiz basically picked the under, so we didn't get a hard number from him. But listen, we all did pretty well. Number of wins for the Astros. And we'll also, are they winning the American League West? So number of wins for the Astros is 86 and a half. 86 and a half. And for some perspective here, last year, of course, 88 wins. The year before, 90 wins. And in 2022, 106 wins. So we are seeing a team which is trending downward. Jeremy Booth, over, under, you have the first word on the number of wins, 86 and a half.
You know, from a club standpoint, they're going the way they're supposed to, and they're rebuilding. They're personnel is leaving, people are retiring. They're getting some younger kids in there, putting some people in a little bit of misfit, trying to figure out what's going on. But it doesn't change the excitement in the city and what for this club and the energy that's in Dyken Park. I got two young guys in my neighborhood, Connor and Cameron Jones, who are always like hidden in a cage in their backyard. I could hear them, and I was out there today, and I was doing some training, and the excitement for baseball, right, for the Astros to be back is here. And I can tell you this. While I'm gonna get ahead, they don't win the West. I'll tell you that. They don't win the West. I believe in the team in Arlington is going to win the West for now. I think 86 wins. I'm going just underneath.
I also, like Jeremy, don't think they win the division, but I think they get to 87 wins.
I've been going back and forth on this one, but I'm going to say over. I'm going to say 87 wins. Is it enough to win the division? I don't know. I don't know if this starting pitching is going to hold up.
I'm going to say they don't win the West. I agree that I think maybe Texas is the team to beat in this division. And I'm going to go just under. I think like you said at the beginning, right? The team is just trending downward.
And now that Jeremy's here, let's look back and ahead as well. So aside from injury, what is the main cause of the Astros collapse in 2025? Instead of asking you, Jeremy, we have a new feature. It's not a Magic 8-ball. It's a Jeremy Booth Magic Baseball.
Whoa.
So here is what the Magic Baseball says. It says manage stars better. Do you agree with that as the main reason other than injuries for the collapse of the Astros in 2025?
You know what? Yeah, I do. I don't think they managed their personnel well at all. I think it was a situation where they had a chance to do better than the 86, 87 win range. But yeah, I think that's probably it. Yeah, we're good.
I mean, yeah, they completely mismanaged the injury situation. It's hard to say, like, what exactly happened because there were some freak things that happened, but then you're also like, how is it possible to have this many guys on the IL at one time when that is literally your entire job?
I'm going to take this one step further and say this, that another reason for the collapse, and I know Jeremy's going to love to hear this, is the lack of good drafting done in 17, 18, 19, and 20 where, 17, 18, 19, where you are not hitting on your first round picks because when guys leave, then you would have had people come in and take those roles. And we did not see that. And I think that that's also a problem because the depth, while certainly the team was using Sugarland Space Cowboys and Corpus Christi hooks, listen, when you miss consistently in the first round, it's going to catch up with you, and I think it's finally caught up to the Astros.
Yeah, they didn't just miss in the first round. They missed early on and often. And it was one of those things where it seemed to be more about saving money than finding the best player available. You've got 17, 18, 19, 20, of course, you said is the penalty year, and even 21. But by that 17 to 20 group would be here now. You see the Bo Nailers from 2018 as an example. You see the Corey Lee in 2019. That was 2019, I believe.
Yep.
Who it's not pretty. It's just not pretty. And so when you look at keeping the window open, or keeping it alive, where they did a good job was international scouting. They did a good job of developing some of the pitching they had in the system. But when it comes down to who could have been here, how they would have reinforcements, and And the way to extend this window, they failed at that with drafting, and they did it miserably.
And now Bob Nightingale from USA Today reporting that Joe Espada's job security would seem more tenuous than Dana Brown's. So let's go to the Jeremy Booth Magic Baseball. What is the answer here, Jeremy? Too early to tell. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I still agree with too early to tell. You know, it's getting closer. It's getting closer because, you know, the Alvarez second thing is something that 2 years in a row that we've talked about. We've talked about McCullers for 4 or 5 years.
Jordan batting second.
And McCullers for 4 or 5 years being a starter. You know, how many games he's going to pitch and what workload you give him. So it's closer. It's not all the way there, but it's still too early to tell.
It's closer for me. I mean, I could not see them moving on from Dana Brown, considering what they were able to do this year with what they had, right?
Even Joe Espada as well, I would think, given that he had this pitching staff of Space Cowboys for most of the season.
Yeah, well, I guess the spot that I'm coming from is that Dana Brown is willing to work within the parameters that he is given, and that is probably a big part of who's going to be the general manager for the Astros. You're not going to be the guy that goes out and makes this splash signing because, you know, historically, they really haven't wanted to spend that kind of money. So I think his job is safer in that respect.
Yeah, Dana's done a great job. He's done a great job across the board with even reinvigorating the draft. He's done a great job with at free agent acquisitions. He's had some excellent trades for Kyle Tucker. It was a really good deal. When you look at his body of work, Zach's point is dead on. When you look at what Joe's body of work is, we don't know if it's Joe or somebody else that's making those decisions on personnel. I'm not going to talk about anything on anybody like on X who has a say in this thing, but I even saw today. I saw some posts about McCullers coming back as a starter. If we're still thinking that way, then we're asking for problems. And so, you know, when you look at who's making that final decision, that's going to determine really if Joe's safe or not. Is it his decision or is it somebody else?
And finally, one thing the Astros will not be saying during the 2025 postseason. One more look at the Jeremy Booth Magic Baseball. Jeremy? Can you explain that?
Yeah, we got now is a hashtag for the New Balance Future Star Series and
New Balance Baseball,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, New Balance Baseball, and
meaning we got the present
right this second. Yep,
yeah.
and tomorrow we'll have it again, and then and the Astros don't. It's done, and they don't have now. They might have had earlier, yesterday, but they don't have today. So, yep, that one's still good too.
What do you think of the Jeremy Booth Magic Baseball? You were not aware of this.
It's pretty creative. That's beautiful. I love that. That was fun. It was fun to see when you got that. That was good, and it was fun to see where it came from. And no, it was good. I like that. That was a good way of setting it back up, man.
We got to see you twice.
It's.
I wanted to see if Jeremy would contradict himself.
Yeah, I'm kind of blown away with that. That was pretty good.
Right.
I'm sitting here. It's not often you surprise me after 9 years. That was pretty good.
Also, when we look ahead at this team and the infield situation, where does this team go in 2026, given the pieces it has and the fact that it appears you have too many pieces in the infield? With Paredes, Christian Walker, Jose Altuve, Jeremy Pena, and now Carlos Correa.
Yeah, one of those guys is going to have to get traded. And likely one of those guys, at least as it sits today, has to go to the outfield. Christian Walker ended up with 27
something like that, yeah.
And when he got here, we talked about hitting 30.
Yep.
And he missed some time, hurt, and he was maligned a lot of the year, sometimes deservedly so, sometimes not. It's a Major League Baseball player, but he ends up with 27 home runs.
He had a tough time, though, with runners in scoring position.
He did. I would argue that's a product of who's making the lineup out and where people are positioned, because the solo home run, the damage as far as when he had a chance to control his own outcome, 27 home runs, right? When it looks at Correa, where's Correa really fit in this lineup? What happens with Jordan Alvarez's health and how they're going to play him and what they're going to do? All of that will dictate, believe it or not, infield at bats, because those guys are going to be in the lineup, right? Paredes is going to be in the lineup. When you have Altuve, he's not going anywhere. When
Jeremy Pena.
Not going anywhere. So you're really looking at pieces to move to get something back, or who's going to fill in the outfield spot. And I know the question was infield, but looking at the outfield, Cam Smith did about what we thought.
Mm-hmm.
You know, hit about 240, hit 10. That's about right. You know, and so they're going to have some decisions to make. They're not as difficult as they think they are, because the pitching help they need, they have pieces to go get. There's not a whole lot of it. There's nothing they can send back to the minor leagues. The guys that don't need to be here, that need more time in AAA, they can now go back to AAA. So it's not a bad overall place to be. It's just not ideal.
Why would you not trade Christian Walker when his stock is actually high?
Is it though? Is it high?
I think it's as high as it's going to be. And
Okay.
I say that because
You're going to have to eat some of that money.
They're coming. That's okay. That's okay.
Right, Jeremy? No? Yes.
I think the home and road splits are so different. He doesn't hit well at Dyken Park.
Which is surprising given the dimensions.
It is. But he doesn't hit well there.
You know, I look back and I'm thinking over the at-bats and the flow of the team. When I go to the ballpark, as just the evaluator in me, I go early to watch the flow of the team. It's the BP, it's how they're getting along with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw a lot of listlessness, lifelessness. Flat is the easiest way to say it out of this club. Sometimes they were playing out of, I don't want to say fear, let's say caution. And when you're playing with caution, it's going to go down the line. They're waiting for somebody to be in effect. A lot of the damage Christian Walker did may or may not have come in low-pressure situations. You have to do a deeper dive into that. But what I do know is 27 home runs, still 27 home runs. And that's exactly what he was brought here to do. How they put those guys together, I think, produces a different offensive juggernaut. And what you're looking at is if you move a guy like Walker, you move somebody else off the roster, and Correa isn't it, and Paredes isn't it. So if you move a guy that you're going to like Christian Walker, who's the obvious one to start out with, it's got to be to go get pitching. It has to be to go get arms, and it has to be something that not young pitching, established pitching to put you back over the top, especially with a Hunter Brown and Javier and some of the guys that they have in that rotation, that they think they're going to get healthy on. And then, with that in mind, we've said for a couple of years here, I don't think I heard it much anywhere else, and I guess that's a credit to the coworkers here and the analysts and the staff and sports desk. But this medical staff on the pitching has been bad for 2 years. It's just been bad for a minute, and it's not like this is new. And when you go around and you go back, Astros fans, and look at the history of what this club has done, who's been hurt, how long, why. First, we blamed it on fatigue in the postseason. We blamed it on the World Series in 22, right? Because it had so many runs. And we blamed it on rushing back. And we blamed it on misdiagnosis. Well, all those things add up to not being conditioned properly, not having your workload built up properly, not having your body ready to go, and asking your body to do something that's not supposed to do when it's not ready to do it. All that relies on the medical staff and the strength conditioning staff. Now, with Joe Espada, who I am just not a fan of how so far he's used the star personnel that he's had, you can't play if you're not on the field. You can't do anything with guys that you don't have access to. So the medical staff is the first thing to move, and then you can go down the list of which infield, which outfield is going to be here. But I think you may see guys move to the outfield rather than trade that firepower off the roster.
And there you have it. He is Jeremy Booth, our KHOU 11 baseball analyst. Jeremy, thank you so much for joining us tonight on Sports Extra, and thank you for allowing us to have a Jeremy Booth Magic Baseball.
Man, that was great. That was fun.